Today I want to take a look at the draft between 100 Thieves and Flyquest in Game 1 of their best of 3 earlier today. I gotta say, it was an absolutely atrocious draft from 100 Thieves, and a really standard, solid front to back from Flyquest. Absolutely no wonder that they won the game, and it was a really poor performance from 100 Thieves. So they go ahead and B1 Jace. The initial problem with this is that Cassante, Rumble, Gnar, a lot of other top tier meta top laners are available currently. So unless you want to flex Jace to the mid lane, or at least have that potential, the Jace is just not as valuable of a pick because there are so many top laners currently available. For B1 ADCs, I would take Ashe, I would take Varus, I would take Ezreal, or I would take Corki. All four of those are acceptable, and those are really the grouping of strong ADCs in the current meta. Flyquest go and first rotate Varus and Vi. This is pretty standard. Obviously the Varus is one of, if not the strongest ADCs in the game currently. Please, if you're playing Varus currently in competitive or solo queue, go on hit. This poke Varus thing just doesn't do very much damage, and it's way easier to draft against as well because you can just go some sort of sustain over time, and the poke doesn't really end up sticking. Vi is also just probably the best basic AD skirmish fighter jungler in the game. I tend to favor Viego and Zinzao over her, but Vi is perfectly fine. The only problem is that she definitely needs to be drafted around in the team comp. She can only go in, right? Vi's team is literally only going forward, pressing R and going in. So if the rest of the comp just kind of wants to stay back and play with range, then Vi could be abandoned by herself after she ults and kind of just have no value in the game. 100 Thieves go in 2-3 Sejuani and Corki. This is pretty much where the game's lost. Jace plus Sejuani is just not a very strong top side of the map, especially if Jace goes any sort of tank build. You're just not really going to have too much damage on the top side of the map. The Corki is a good mid-bot flex, which I appreciate. Very strong champion there, but Sejuani is just useless, man. Honestly, I've said it 100 times. If you want to pick a tank jungler, just go Maokai, Amumu. Obviously, Skarner can be lumped in with that grouping, but Skarner's banned every single game on red side. So Flyquest go ahead and close out first phase with Cassante on R3. This is perfectly fine. Like I said, with the top lane pool being so open in first phase, the Jace B1 value just isn't really there. Cassante is just straight up a better champion than Jace, especially in the lane swap meta, because Cassante is basically impossible to dive in the early levels of the game. So I definitely favor Cassante value here. And through the first phase, I really like Flyquest's comp. They just have pretty basic scaling, team fighting, skirmishing power. Normally I would say Vi is going to get outscaled and outvalued in team fights, but since she's into Sejuani, that's not entirely the case. Vi looks like she can actually scale pretty well into this game, and obviously the on-hit Varus is going to be able to melt that Sejuani Jace frontline pretty easily, and with the range, he's not going to have a problem playing into the Corki as well. So the Varus is going to have value, Cassante, Vi, all going to scale pretty well, and then the Azir on R4 is really good as well. This is basically just saying this is the strongest blind mid we have on R4, and it also does well into the Corki in lane in case that Corki flexes mid. So basically just covering their bases here are Flyquest. Picking something just overall is generally good in their comp with the scaling, the range, the team fight, and covers the bases in terms of anything that 100 Thieves want to pick. It's not really going to suffer too much into that matchup. Speaking of 100 Thieves, closing out with Rell and Sylas, this is where the draft becomes even more lost. Rell is just really bad, especially as a blind pick champion. With champions like Braum and Janna and Alistar available, you can pick anything that can just disengage and protect, and Rell is pretty useless. Similar with Sylas, this champion just kind of sucks, especially into Azir. I'm not entirely sure what the value is going to be here. He's never going to be stronger than the Azir at any point in the game, really. And like I said, there's the Braum on R5 for Flyquest into the Rell. So basically, against 4 melee champions, counting Jace as a melee champion, the Braum is just going to have absurd value. And Vi can play a little bit more of a Peely style with the mobility and self-peel of Azir and the range of Varus with Cassante thrown in there. This is just a Giga 1 draft for Flyquest. 100 Thieves really don't have a consistent way to play team fights in this game, and you know, even if they get pretty ahead in the early game, which their comp doesn't really look like they can do, Flyquest is still going to have a Giga advantage come 20-25 minutes, and they should be winning the scaling team fights really easily. Thanks for watching. See you next time.